Hey there, Dungeons & Dragons tabletop nerds and geeks. This is Unboxing Episode 1. I'm Gravity Fail and/or James, joined by Joshua McGee and Jacob Ivy. How's everyone doing?
Not so bad.
No, but not so bad.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right over here. Can't complain too much. I got my Owala, sucking down that water.
There you go.
Pretty good time.
When I heard Owala, my brain went koala and then sucking down water. I'm like, are you drinking water off of a koala's back?
So there's a thing with it where when you drink out of it, the way that the lid works or whatever, it's supposed to make like a koala nose on your face.
Ah, it's working.
It's
I see it.
It's very subtle, but it does it.
I'm glad that this is also going to be a visual show.
Well,
This
look, if
is
it
just
wasn't
audio.
gonna be a visual show, then everyone go to owalalife.com, look at an Owala, and now imagine that lid opening on my face.
But Josh, you just got your what license?
I just got a helicopter private pilot license.
And what are you gonna do with that?
Fly a helicopter.
What kind of question is that?
Fly a helicopter.
That's
You're
the
not gonna
plan.
fly like the Thanos copter around town.
I'm 1000%. I'm flying the Thanos copter around every weekend, just giving people unwarranted thumbs ups and toothy grins.
I really want you to because the copter that I saw you training in does look 100% like the Thanos copter.
It is the
It does.
Thanos copter.
I really want to get you or you find the Thanos glove and just start flying over people's cars and snapping at them, and then have a disapproving face and then fly away.
Record that for TikTok, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you can record yourself doing that one, using your phone while flying.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. We want you to use your phone while flying.
So I only had a couple things for us today, so I'll give you a quick rundown. One of them is the new DND Marketing Push, or 5.5 as I like to call it. There's a great Kickstarter that I found and pledged. I think it has a cool mechanic that we'll talk about later. And then also a book that I recently bought that is, for some people, sadly, a Wizards of the Coast Dungeons & Dragons book. But it has some fun stuff in it, and I'll explain why. Because D&D can't make anything new. That actually feeds into the marketing push pretty much, because I don't know how much of the recent videos that you've seen of them being like, the new warlock class, we really delved into it and we redid the whole base class of warlocks and barbarian and everything. And basically, they're not selling me, if you've seen it, that they've actually made anything new. A lot of it's we looked at the barbarian class and we realized, yes, you can't rage as much as we'd like you to, so we're actually going to allow you to rage now more, and it recharges on a short rest instead of a long rest. So it's okay, so you haven't really done anything besides an etera or updating an existing class. What do you all think about that? Because that's kind of the general rule of thumb for all the classes, is that they've just basically redone what they already have.
My thoughts are a little bit limited, I will say. I haven't seen anything that's from 1D&D that just caught me as I need to dive into this, because everything, to the point that I think you're making, feels like a whole lot of the same. So nothing's been you know what, I really want to know what changes they're making to the cleric, because at the end of the day it's D&D, and if I don't want to use those changes, we'll talk about it as a group, and then maybe we don't use the changes. So it just doesn't feel like nothing's been so stand out where I'm like, God, I really want to do that thing. Yeah, I kind of wish they would do something something a little out of nowhere, really out of left field with things, really surprise us, because right now it's just not there for me. It just feels like D&D 5e.2.
Yeah.
I liked I've looked at the first couple of PDFs when they were, when it was new still, and I liked that they were doing the roles, which was like a more, you had your classes obviously, and then one step more generic would be the roles. I thought that was a cool idea, but they did not go anywhere with that.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
what's
think-
the point of roles if they... I mean, I guess it helps new people that want to form a party understand there are roles, like the damage and the healer and the support or whatever.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just like words on a page that don't help anybody.
Yeah. I think the biggest changes that I've actually seen aren't in the classes themselves. It's more from, like, your background gives you a feat, and your ancestry now, instead of race, gives you also like a feat or potentially a feat, which I get. I think that's been one of the biggest complaints I've always had is that backgrounds don't do anything. So now they're like narratively tying, like, oh, from your background you have learned this ability, sailing actually does something for you. So that's kind of cool. I still think that our like questionnaire of backgrounds does way more, but you just ask them a whole bunch of childhood questions about them and their family and what their parents do, and then you assign it as a DM.
Yeah.
It
And
makes
the
more sense.
free PDF of the background is in the description.
Yeah. Which I know is hard because it's very wibbly wobbly of assigning things, but I was really hoping that they would do something like that where your background, if you are a sailor, like, yeah, you not just a feat, but you get like the skill, you know, you get more than just the, like, you can talk to other sailors to board the ship for free passage. It's like no one does nautical missions.
Yeah.
But I do want to, like, one thing you did say about backgrounds and how, like, no one uses them. I will say, I feel like we utilize backgrounds fairly well. Like, we, like, as a group, reference our backgrounds as for our characters pretty often. You know what I mean? We tend to use the skills or lack thereof skills that we got from those backgrounds as well pretty often. So I feel like, at least in our case, we do use those frequently. So I feel like background changes are pretty important for us, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really a role-playing thing more than a mechanical thing, though, for us. And I
Yeah.
think it helps that we've all played multiple characters, like more than 10 characters, because at that point, even for yourself, you need something that, why is this character why am I playing this character instead of an old one?
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like that is what they're, I hope that that's kind of what they're doing, where it's like, we want to emphasize, codify these changes. Like, yes, we are aware that they're not really big changes, but codify them so that people don't have arguments about, like, well, this subclass says I can do this thing. It's like, okay, well, now it says it can do this thing. So, okay, you can do it now, instead of having to argue at the table for 20 minutes about whether or not that's a bonus action. We have now said it is a bonus action. But that's kind of what I hope. I know that there's a lot of problems with Wizards and Hasbro.
Yeah.
We could list them here. I think my takeaway is that there's been, not to get too far off of the 1D&D stuff, but I don't think that there's a system out there currently, and people can comment down below if they think I'm wrong. I don't think that there's a system out there that will dethrone, like everyone likes to say, or kill Dungeons and Dragons, just because it's so ubiquitous. And this 5.5 1D&D thing that they're doing just is feeding into it. Like, they're like, you can use this with our old system or our other old system.
Well, I think it's because, like, at the end of the day, like, there are other systems out there you can play. There's Pathfinder, there is Hell of a Town, there is Triangle Agency.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Throwing that one out there for you guys. There's a bunch of stuff out there, indie and non-indie. But at the end of the day, if you tell someone I play TTRPGs, they're gonna go, what? And if you say I play D&D, they're gonna go, oh, I know what you do. It's the same
What's wrong
thing
with
with
you?
Exactly. It's the same thing as, like, when you say, like, I play MMORPGs or I play World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? Like, no one's gonna ever kill either of these things. But they might not be as popular in the future.
Yeah, it's the
You know.
Xerox effect.
It's always gonna be like, do you play that D&D like system?
Any other thoughts on that before I switch on over? Because you actually did a good little call to the next segment already. Yeah.
Nice.
How do you feel about using a deck of cards instead of a pile of dice?
I'd be happy to try anything different. The roll d20, add a number is great, and it works. I'm ready for something new. Something that I've seen recently that's in some systems is the roll under, which I haven't done much of, if any. I don't recall. But that sounds fun, because, like, if your strength level's 18, roll under 18 and you succeed. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, because I had the pleasure of playing in One Shot Tavern Yeepaw, which uses a deck of cards, and they do the Texas Hold'em version. But you mentioned it earlier, the Helluva Town, which is a 1920s animated tabletop RPG that uses a deck of cards and kind of like blackjack resolution system to play their game. They have various cartoon archetypes. Think like Betty Boop mixed with Cuphead, when a Helluva boss, dirty, raunchy town. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And it's by an Italian publisher, Archeron is the publishing house. They just finished their Kickstarter and they crushed their goal. They ended with $138,000 off of a 10K goal. So
Nice.
whatever that is for me.
Crazy.
Wow, you're so dominant.
And it seems like it's a pretty small team, and from
Yeah.
what the updates sound like, they pretty much have it done. It's just printing it and getting it out there, like other small indie tabletops. Like, we already have it, we just gotta get the money to print it. But what I was thinking is, if you could play in their system, again, very Cuphead, Betty Boop, early Looney Tunes, who would you want to play as?
Oh, like using like a already well-known character?
Yeah,
Is what you're
like-
saying? Like a Looney
yeah.
Tunes or Tom
Yeah.
and Jerry or whatever?
Yeah.
It's hard. There's so many good
easy.
characters.
This is where you put a few moments later.
I think that I think it'd be a ton of fun, and this isn't exactly the same group of cartoons that was just said, but Grimm from the Grimm Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I think it'd be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to do his voice?
No. No. I will go on the record right now. I will keep this in the edit, and I will go on the record right now that you will never, ever catch me doing that voice.
Josh, who would you play as?
For copyright purposes, I'd be Steamboat Willie.
It's free now. You can do it all you want. A few moments later.
I feel like pretty much any of the Looney Tunes would be great.
I like
Like
that
a-
energy. Yeah.
Like a Foghorn Leghorn.
Can we get an example?
Yeah. Are you gonna do the voice?
Well, if I'm gonna do the voice of a player of Foghorn Leghorn, I would need a DM to set the scene, or a GM to set the scene, and then I react to it.
Okay, you and Grimm are at a casino where you have to win a hand of blackjack in order to save your friend, which would be my pick, Black Pete, which is the Mickey Mouse's annoying boss in everything. He's like, "Oh, Mickey, well, you gotta pay the tree fee and you gotta pay the parking fee. I know you're my employee, but those $10 are mine, Mickey." But you gotta save that guy for some reason at a hand of blackjack where he was cheating beforehand. But the dealer, Goofy, is just going, "Well, I don't know, guys. I don't think you're gonna win." As he shuffles the deck like a magician, but then all the cards scatter. He's like, "Don't worry, I got another one."
So I think I'd probably have to accidentally spill a whole bunch of root beers or a giant plate of nachos or something. Being a gentleman, I would clean up after myself, but while cleaning up, beat of everybody on accident. And, now, boy, I'll tell you, this is a fine table you got here. This is a fine game you boys are playing here. Let me just have a seat right here now. Oh my, that was actually. Let me just pick that up for you. Oh man, there's a jalapeno on the floor. I like a good jalapeno. I'll eat a whole one by myself right now. And yes.
I don't know how the resolution mechanic works, Fuller, but I'm sure it'd be left and right. Goofy would be the only one who's like immune for some reason to your.
Of course, yeah, he definitely is.
To your style.
He's just moving around.
He'd be dealing cards in a way that's just good enough to evade everything.
His natural ability to just like take endless amounts of punishment.
That was good. I felt like I was really in the scene there.
Nice.
Well, clearly, once I get it, we're gonna play it.
We have to.
Yeah, we have to. But I'm looking forward to it because again, I think getting away from dice mechanics is fun, like shuffling cards, whatever, and also like if you want to count cards and do like card probability, sure, whatever. But I'm looking forward to it, and we can slap their link down below. I was looking and they don't have like a beta or test play document, but you can read about it and wait for it to come out. They have the publishing company has a ton of other games that have different mechanics, but is interesting, and they're Italian, so just make sure to hit the English translation button on their website. Unless you read Italian.
Then do whatever you want.
Yeah, then do whatever you want. So we're one person short today, which is going to go into the Reddit thing I posted. So the Reddit post was effectively, my DM caused me to lose a level because he has a 3-strike system. First strike is a warning. They're kind. They tell you, hey, you were 15 minutes late to the game. This is your first warning of 3. On the second warning, you lose a level. And on the third warning, they remove a class feature. I have my thoughts on it, but I'm yeah, what is your initial take with that?
Huge red flags. Don't play with that group. Because first of all, how often are people late where the GM feels they need to do that?
Yeah.
And second of all, the GM is doing that. So
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like near exact the same take I had with it. We kind of talked a little bit about this in our Discord, which just adding to the litany of links that will be in the description, you should definitely join. But we talked a little bit about this, and my take is very similar. Like, what in the red flag hell? Get out of there. The first one makes sense. Like, hey man, you've been missing a lot. You know what I mean? Like that makes sense. Like 3, 4, 5 sessions, you've missed. Hey, let's have a talk. Are you really in this? Do you really want to do this?
yeah, the in-game punishment for real-world behavior is weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely does not translate.
It's weird.
And that's kind of what like Reddit was coming up to with, where it's like you shouldn't be punishing characters for players and like leave it out of the game, because the moment you start bringing in that, then other issues start coming into the game.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, but I also kind of want to play devil's advocate, because I've had a lot of players that like are 30 minutes to an hour late in the past, or they just miss like 2 or 3 games in a row without telling me. And I don't think I would do this strike system, but I think, as I put in our Discord link below, they stop becoming like a main character, and I don't focus on them as much. Like they still get their turn. I make sure everyone gets their turn, and they're like 15 minutes, but I don't do their backstory. I don't highlight their character development anymore, because if you're gonna leave in the middle of your own character arc, well,
Yeah,
why
I
do
feel like
it?
that's fair.
Yeah.
That seems more accurate. Like it just seems more naturally. Of course, that's going to happen that way. Your characters aren't going to speak for themselves. How are they going to be part of the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my characters one of the player characters had, it was a joke like, oh, they had IBS and had to run away, and then that just became the like constant joke, like they were in the outhouse when the frost giants attacked. That outhouse didn't make it.
Was it because they were in it?
It was real
I think
cheesy.
I think I purposely, because they finally told me like, oh hey, I my new job, I just can't do. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, this is how your character's gonna die is
Yeah.
in the outhouse because that's where it got left last time and crushed by
Yeah.
a frost giant.
But and that was kind of my point as well. And there's that like life happens sometimes. Stop
Yeah.
punishing your players for life happening.
In the original post, it's like 10 minutes late they get a punishment. Like 10 minutes, like maybe I'm too kind. I'm like 30 minutes, and then I don't think it'd get
Man.
punishment. But you don't start. I'll probably start the game, and your character comes in after the first turn order thing happens. But how would you, either of you, bring up tardiness or missing games to players?
So I think the first time someone's late, obviously no punishment, no slap on the wrist. Play the game. After you have fun together, be like, hey, give us a heads up. You know, if you're gonna be late. If they didn't say anything, that's one thing, and if they did say something, that's a different story. But you know, talk to them, talk to the other players, see if they actually feel affected by it. If it's like a loose game, home game, and no one really cares about starting on time, like, hey, we're hanging out, we'll play the game when they get here. That's cool. So I don't know, just make sure everyone has the same expectations, and I don't know if it's excessive. Obviously, eventually I'll just tell them, hey, you're late all the time. Maybe you could just hang out, or probably don't be part of the game. It's affecting everybody.
Yeah. I think you had a good point where it's like the communication aspect.
Yeah.
Like with my game, frequently because of traffic, players are like 20 to 30 minutes late depending on the day, time that we play. So like they let me know well ahead of time, like, oh, hey, traffic sucks. We're probably going to be like 15 to 20 minutes late. Cool, whatever.
Yeah.
We won't start till you get here. Or I won't start until you're in the door, and then as you're setting up, the other people who are already here, you can at least hear what's going on. So I think that's the key. Like if you also know that you're going to be the person who's always late or missing games, communication. And I think the hardest part is if you struggle and you've already missed multiple games, to know when to bow out.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I've missed 5 games off and on for the last 7, so I'm only making 2 of 7.
Yeah.
I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Go on without me. Pilot it as an NPC or something, or they go off into the distance and die.
Yeah, and I think that the thing to do is to distinguish between someone who's late and someone who's missing sessions. Because like in our scenario that we're seeing here with this Reddit thread, it doesn't matter if you're missing sessions or late. You're getting some kind of reprimand happening. And I do think that, as someone who generally is chronically late, definitely communicate with your DM. Let them know what's going on. If you are missing sessions, that's a different story. But if you're just late and there's no hard stop for everyone, who cares? Yeah. Are we here to have fun, or are we here to play some kind of crazy second job simulator?
We're fighting zombies and making fictitious jobs to avoid our real job.
Exactly.
I am more productive in D&D than I am in my real job.
That's what I'm saying.
Communication.
Expectations and communication.
Yeah, exactly.
We're taking down Ren, the Dark Lord of the Evil Bistro, at 9 p.m. sharp.
But I'm going to be there at 9:15. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, and that's why I get more screen time. The only other thing I have today is recent purchases. I don't know if you all have bought anything fun tabletop related recently.
I just blew all my money at school, so.
Well, yeah.
All right, pilot. Yeah, nothing tabletop related here.
I do have something I can add, however.
Yeah.
Haven't made any purchases. So I use Dungeon Alchemist to make our maps for what we play. And I have a chronic illness where no matter what software I use, I can only use the vanilla version, and I never think of mods or downloads or modules or nothing. Just the chronic illness.
It's true.
Where I'm on tunnel vision on vanilla mode. But I had recently discovered, as anybody that uses it probably knows well in advance, but there's community-made maps. So I've been finding some of those and using some of those, and grab it and alter it, and that has been real cool. It's like a new purchase to me.
How long have you been using it?
Dungeon Alchemist. I've been using it since our cartographer could no longer help us. I just took over
So-
where they left off.
So that's like almost a year now.
Yeah.
What is helpful with the system? Because I don't use it.
It has like generative fill pretty much, and then it exports directly as a grid that's compatible with the VTT we use.
Does it
Nice.
also work for Roll20?
Yes. Yep. It has Roll20 exports specifically too, and you can just upload a JSON file, and it's pretty quick, pretty easy.
Jason.
JSON. DJ JSON.
I think I'll save my purchase for our next episode.
Oh,
What?
Yeah,
Oh, you tease.
because it goes into a couple other things I'm working on, but I think I'll save it.
The low-key chill chat cliffhanger.
Yeah, what?
Just hanging out.
Yeah, if people want to comment on what they think it is, they're more than
Ooh.
welcome to. The only hint you get is that it's a recent Dungeons and Dragons book, amongst the other like 12 things I bought. But the one I want to talk about is a recent Dungeons and Dragons book.
Is it their VTT where minis are sold separately?
That's the other thing.
Next episode.
Subscription plans.
Yeah, forget $1.99 virtual mini.
Yeah. So as we end the episode, what are you working on? What are you looking forward to for this next week? We'll get a better outro. A few moments later. What are you doing? Next week? What are you working on?
So I am working on me personally, Jacob, Jivey. Hey everyone, Jivey right here. Jivey does things on some platforms. I'm working on my own little gaming situation. It's going to be called Jivey Games, and the first thing we're going to do is play through Destiny on my Warlock that I haven't touched in forever. It's going to be the Legendary campaign.
So you're publicly saying that you're just feeding your Destiny addiction?
What are you working on, Josh?
Nothing.
That's perfectly fine.
Depression.
Vimros, come on. What are you working on, Josh? Vimros.
Always working
Always.
on Vimros. I'm always working on Vimros. I just got done with a big chunk of school, so going hard in the paint, as the children say.
Well, that was our unboxing episode number 1 in our new format. If you wanna... No, I'm not gonna keep doing that. No, that was our episode 1. If you want to check this out, go ahead and comment below. If you comment, we'll turn you into an NPC. I'm going to be doing that for our next one. And you can have your own custom whatever stats and whatever system I decide to choose it in. And as always, I had fun. Hope you all had fun. Roll well. And Josh, final words.
Ampersandbox may not be the place to hang out, but it is a place to hang out.
Bye, guys.